Only 5% of physicians are African American in the United States. And when you look back to the 1920s, when medical education was completely reformed, it was 6%. And so we've actually gone down.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to talk about the Little Medical School near Alton, Illinois, which is where we filmed season 3 of the Small Business Revolution. So the Little Medical School is a STEM-based curriculum that exposes kids to the medical professions to promote awareness of career opportunities. So, pre-COVID, your model was that people would come into the Little Medical School and take in-person classes, but this is kind of forcing you to move some of your curriculum online. So we're so fascinated to know what you've been seeing in the face of this crisis.
Our business model has been a live experience model. And that's really what the magic was. It was giving kids ages 4 to 14 white coats to put on, giving them a real stethoscope, getting them to go through a white coat ceremony, and then having a big graduation with their parents there, and taking the Little Medical School oath, which is based on the Hippocratic Oath. And it was a live experience. And quite honestly, even 3 months ago, I could not imagine what an online model would look like for this. But now we're figuring it out. And I've been doing 30-minute free live classes, and we've been having 500-600 kids come on. And it's amazing, the pictures they're sending me and the activities that they're engaging in. So there definitely is an online model. We are launching, for example, online birthday parties and celebration parties. It's up on our website now, where we can actually send one of our educational kits to the kids and then do a Zoom meeting so we can invite others to come in. You do have to make it fun, but you also have to find ways to make the kids excited by just staring at a screen versus having, 11, 12 other kids around them. It's kind of an uncharted territory for us, but I'm excited. And what it also does for me is that it allows me to find ways to keep my instructors engaged and working. And that's important for me, because in all of this, I think that's been the hardest, is trying to keep my employees, whole, and, making sure that not only do they have that paycheck, but also making sure that they're still engaged with the business. And I think that is so hard when you can't see each other face to face.
I completely appreciate how hands-on your learning is and what that classroom experience is like and how vital that is to the learning process. I do think that you could be having students from all across the country now participating in your curriculum versus only those who could, drive in physically prior.
I'll tell you, one area I've always wanted to work in is for kids who are chronically ill, kids who are hospitalized, because I really feel our programming can empower kids, because when they can put on their own little white coat and have their own stethoscope, just like their doctor or nurse, I think it gives them, a much better sense of control of the situation. Mm-hmm. But now I think, okay, if they're sick and they can't, physically leave their house or the hospital, well, maybe this online model is a great way to go and a great way to deliver our programming to those children who need it so much.
Yeah, because so much control is taken away from kids when they're being treated with a chronic illness. I mean, I think that's something kids already wish they had more of, even when they're totally healthy. And then you pile on all the inability to go places and the tests and the treatments. That's huge to be able to offer those kids something that makes them feel like they understand what's going on and they have more control over that.
I do think that the online space will just allow more kids to really benefit from the goodness that your curriculum and your program does. Encouraging the exploration of STEM and really thinking about going into these kinds of medical fields.
Our model is, while we do have a classroom here in St. Louis, and that's where I'm sitting right now, we are probably a 95% mobile business, going into the schools, going into community centers. We're going to where kids are. And this stat has always just shocked me, but only 5% of physicians are African American in the United States. And when you look back to the 1920s, when medical education was completely reformed, it was 6%. And so we've actually gone down. And so that's one thing that we've really tried to do with our foundation, is really get into, communities that are really struggling to get healthcare workers to come back into their community. It may take us, several years to do it, but I think if we can start working on the pipeline now, eventually we're going to get there.
Well, and I love that you're going to where the students are, rather than being kind of a program that relies on parents signing their kids up for it. Because I think the kinds of parents that would be seeking out your kinds of educational opportunities are probably also the same parents that are encouraging their kids that they're smart enough to do it and encouraging them to pursue these kinds of careers.
I think people become physicians because, one, they've had a really strong mentor in their life who told them, yes, you can do this. But I actually found, when I started on this journey 20 years ago, there was just really nothing out there. And I was so surprised by that, because health education seems to be everywhere. But when you really start looking into, those types of curriculums that teach kids what nurses, pharmacists, veterinarians, dentists do, it's just not there. And our programming, even though we call it Little Medical School and I'm a doctor, we actually touch on all types of different healthcare careers, because there is something for everybody. And I think that's so important for kids to expand their horizons and also connect why science and math and English are so important in grade school and in middle school, because it really can lead to a great career.
Are there any things that you feel like you've learned that are lessons about how to talk to kids about what's going on right now?
Even in a healthcare crisis, you have to make it fun and you have to make it engaging. So what we've been doing with our current series with Activity Hero, we call it Little Public Health School. And we are highlighting different careers that are, helping with the COVID crisis. It is important to make them feel more in control of the situation, because quite honestly, they're scared. But, as a physician and as a mother and as an educator, I mean, if you break it down and break it down to the facts, you can teach kids scientific facts in fun and simple ways that they can remember and that they understand.
One thing that I love about the way that you teach is that your curriculum can work for an after-school program or a birthday party. I think we don't let kids learn through play nearly enough.
That's the power of what we do. You can take some pretty complex concepts, and if you break them down into fun, educational games and activities, they can do it.
I love it. I love it.
We are going to set up a GoFundMe page that we'll release with this episode of the show. Where will that money go?
We were thinking of doing a program for frontline heroes and first responders children, to do a special educational packet that we could send to them with a white coat and a little patient and some other fun items that they can use, and having a free online class that they can tune into, because we want them to understand how important the work is that their moms and dads are doing.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
This was awesome. I love what you're doing, Dr. Mary. This is incredible. At a time when I think we are all really recognizing what heroes our doctors and nurses are and our healthcare professionals are, it's such a great time to kind of strike while that iron is hot, so to speak, and kids are seeing these people as the heroes that they are. You really are living your mission of kind of inspiring and opening up kind of access to STEM careers. To help Little Medical School deliver programs to the children of first responders, educating them on the vital work their parents are doing, please join Deluxe and Flow in donating to their GoFundMe page at the link in this post. And check out deluxe.com/bigheart to see more incredible stories of small business owners who are fighting for their community.